Losing at games can be one of the most frustrating feelings, and often the idea of improving seems out of reach. But if you're anything like me, you're not going to stop there. By the end of this video, you'll get a better understanding of how to approach a game to learn how to get better at it. Not only will this give you a better shot of winning, but it'll also help you enjoy a game on a much deeper level. I remember growing up playing the games that every family had. You had Monopoly, Yahtzee, the game of life, to name a few. And for a long time, I thought that this was just all that board gaming had to offer, and that video games were just the dominating force of entertainment in the world. Until the gateway drug of board gaming made its way into my life. Catan! The Settlers of Pecan.
It's pronounced pecan.
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 Pecan. This revolution of family board gaming paved the way from the classics that have become so boring and introduced strategy in a simple way for families to enjoy. I know a lot of people have moved on from Catan, but I think it was an incredible gem that changed the way that I see gaming today. Catan showed me that you can be just as passionate at improving at a game as you are about playing the game itself. I want to share that passion with you so that you can experience the same enjoyment of the growing process that I have. For me, improving at any game is such an enjoyable part of playing. Learning to approach a game as smart and thought out as possible is just so delightful. And when everybody playing is engaged and growing together, it's an incredible experience. But it wasn't always that way. For a lot of my life, I was on the losing end of many games. The competition would get really toxic, which not only made losing feel so much worse, it often ruined any motivation to get better. This puts people in a lot of different places. For some, learning to get better just isn't intriguing, and winning seems like a lofty, unachievable goal. For others, losing is so infuriating that they can't see their shortcomings and learn from them. Maybe you feel like you have no chance of getting better, or perhaps you feel like you're not smart enough to learn something more complex. These things break my heart, because they create a barrier that separates people from the enjoyment of the vast experiences that games have to offer. If that sounds familiar, my goal is to provide you with a framework to approach games on a deeper level. The overall purpose, though, is to learn how to enjoy a game and feel truly engaged. These tips can be applied to any game, but to make sure the content remains in-depth and easy to understand, I had to split this video into 3 parts. First, we'll cover the theoretical side of strategy, and the next parts will cover overall approach to a game, turn-by-turn decision-making skills, and ways to track your growth. So make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss out. The 2 main things I want to address in this video are learning to comprehend a game's complexity and approaching a game with a learning mindset. These 2 things are crucial in learning to make the best decisions in your play style, so let's dig in. When looking at gaming and playing games smarter as a whole, we need to talk about mindset. Mindset is what separates the players that want to learn and get better from the players who are stuck and can't see where they need to grow. It's important not to let anger and frustration blind you in this stage of learning. As you get angry, your ability to make decisions with your best judgment significantly drops. It also affects your memory. So not only are you making more inferior decisions, but you won't remember as much to learn from those failures. The disappointment, frustration, and fear you might feel when losing needs to be addressed if you're trying to improve. Of course, this is a lifelong journey. No one's expecting you to be perfect. It'll take a lot of soul-searching, emotional healing, or whatever you'd like to call it, but trust me, it's worth it. It's one of the core reasons I love games so much. The way they've shaped me as a person keeps me motivated to continue to improve myself. Each time you start a game, it's best to practice making the conscious effort to be in the mindset of learning instead of the mindset of winning. That way, if you end up losing the game, you're able to stay aware so that you can observe the choices that you and your opponents make. And as your knowledge grows, you're able to see what causes a player to win. Shifting your focus to learning is vital for growing. And honestly, that's not just true of gaming, that's true in all of life. If we could see every failure as an opportunity to grow, it would make playing games so much more fun. Everybody struggles with failure at various degrees. I certainly still do. Looking back though, I can honestly say that if I didn't change my mindset, I wouldn't be learning, I would just be losing. I'm gonna be harsh for a second. If you genuinely want to learn to get better at games and you can't handle failure, your next step is to learn to be able to get over yourself. I don't say that to be mean in any way, but if you can't have fun simply because you're losing, even if you lose every game, you're missing the point of playing games in the first place. Gaming is about coming together with the people you love, playing the games you love. You don't have to prove yourself. Truth be told, if you stop trying to convince others that you're better than you are, you can focus on the joy that comes with playing games. Everyone is in their own process in their ability to deal with failure. I don't mean in any way for anyone to feel attacked, but I believe it's an important aspect to bring up when talking about approaching games with a learning mindset. The last thing I'll say, the key by far to keeping a growth mindset is awareness. Become aware of how you're feeling about the situation and choose to align with the value of what you can learn. This mentality grants you a significant amount of self-control. You'll be able to make better decisions instead of reacting, making bad decisions, and becoming even more frustrated. Having a healthy mindset is an essential beginning to learning. You'll be spending a lot more time learning from those failures. So identifying the weaknesses and blind spots you have when faced with those failures is crucial to becoming a better player. Often, it's a game's complexity that turns people away from learning to strategize on a deeper level. Too complex, and a player may be discouraged when they lose because they didn't know what they could have done better. Too simple, and a player may not feel the need to think deeper in the first place. The end goal is to be able to enjoy the game you're playing as much as possible. I've found that learning to understand a game and approach it with more intelligent play gives me the room to enjoy it no matter how simple or complex. So what's the best approach? Start paying attention during the straightforward games you play. Think about every option and just play as best as you possibly can. These simple games are a great opportunity for you to push yourself without much consequence. Think about every option and just play as best as you possibly can. As you get familiar with approaching a game with a more in-depth strategy, you'll begin to feel more confident with games that have a higher complexity. It's a lot like exercising or lifting weights. It's all about progression. If your friends are wanting to play a game that's a little too complex for you and might not really be a fun time, don't be afraid to let them know. There's two things you can do in a situation like this. The first one would be to just opt out. Let them know you'll watch the game so that you get a better understanding and are able to play next time. If your friends are persistent and want you to play with them, go into the game expecting that you'll lose. That way you can learn as much as you can without the pressure of winning. As you start to get comfortable with games that have a higher complexity, it'll start to feel normal. You might become more intrigued with games that are longer and have more depth, but the goal isn't to always move on to more complex games. Complexity is on a scale. Eventually, you'll find the complexity that you're most comfortable with. Thankfully, learning to get better at any complexity is equally rewarding. So don't feel bad if you found your comfort zone in the games you love the most. There's no pressure to look more intelligent.
Very much.
Hopefully, these tips will give you the tools to start playing games to enjoy them. The next two parts are going to go into a lot more detail and practical examples of how to approach a game and make the right choices, so make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you can get notifications for every video we upload. Let me know if these tips helped you out in the comments below, and we'll see you next time.
Ladies, fellas, and boys, let's talk about classic Jenga.
It had been a while. It had been a while.
Games are to bring people together, and I think that Jenga does it really well. You don't have to know anything to play Jenga, and so anyone can play.
Nobody warned me that I'd been missing out all my life on the best block stacking experience ever.
Rounds ago.
This is how I feel when someone else is playing the game.